If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. Hello, Louse on the Road subscribers and followers. A lot of times being out here really can test your mental strength, your mettle. Being able to overcome a lot of these adversities, it takes a lot of mental positive thinking because it can drag you down in a hurry. And before you know it, you're aggravated about everything and you just can't, you're just frustrated all the time because of the adversities that are slapping you around. Last summer, we spent most of the summer in the Smoky Mountains, and it was an extremely cold and wet year last year, apparently. I don't know that for a fact, but that's what the locals were saying. It rarely got above the 50s, into the 60s. It was usually in the 50s and raining. I remember one time we were at Hawk Point, and a bunch of campers came that weekend, and there was a tent camper with I don't know if they were married or boyfriend, girlfriend, doesn't matter, and they set up a tent. Oh, she was miserable. It was cold. I mean, she was absolutely miserable. Well, about 11 o'clock, I think they gave up, finally packed it up and left. And this was in July that this happened. A lot of people comment to me, well, you're lucky. It's 90 degrees over here. It's 100 degrees. Well, I'm telling you, I think I would much rather be in that kind of temperature than rain and cold. It takes the energy out of you. You have to come outside, get your shower set up, to filter your water, to get your water. Or then you go inside, and your option is stay inside in this little box with two people inside the camper. And it gets very cramped very quickly. Well, then you decide, okay, well, we're going to go down to Florida for the winter. And you're expecting a nice summer. Well, then you run into the coldest winter that Florida has had in a decade, maybe two. Everybody down there was saying how cold it was this last winter. And it was very cold the entire winter. It was so cold that it snowed one time. It was just cold. And again, you're running your heater. Now, the thing you have to understand about the heater is when you run it in wet conditions, it draws condensation in. A lot of people tell me, well, you just have to open the windows. Well, you open the windows, then water is coming in. So I'm not sure what the trade-off is. Either way, you have this, especially in the pop-up camper, you have this mold thing that starts to develop. And I'm extremely allergic to mold. I mean, I just go and so there's something else that's testing your mental fortitude, trying to overcome just another painful adversity. Then, of course, you get sick. And these are the things that the other YouTubers aren't telling you about. I know that a lot of these YouTubers, they went to that big event last year over in the desert. They all gather around. Well, one of them had the flu, and it started to spread to everybody. Well, I'm telling you, they didn't go in their campers and deal with the flu. No, they didn't. What they did was they went to a hotel room so they could get through their illness. These are the things that you don't get to see. So when you come out here and you realize, well, I'm sick. What am I going to do? Well, you're just going to have to tough through it, and then you're going to have to tough through it in these conditions, these rainy conditions, these cold conditions. Well, then you move forward, and the winter's almost over, and you're about ready to get back onto your adventure, and you're really excited to get things started, and then someone burns your camper down. That is just, wow. Is there anything else that could possibly go wrong? Now, don't get me wrong. All these things can happen in your house, too. So anyway, you build a new camper, and you're on your way, and you're testing it out. You stop in between your one set of family in Florida and another set of family in Missouri, and you're testing it out. Everything's going well. So then you go on up to Missouri. You make some tweaks to the camper to make sure it's all 100% go. So before you get on your adventure, everything's perfect. And then you start out on your adventure, and you come up to South Dakota. Now, South Dakota has been in the 90s and 100 degrees for the last several weeks. We get here, and we had 2 days at this wonderful Badlands, National Grasslands here in South Dakota. It was beautiful the first 2 days, just beautiful, breathtaking, just sun. Now it was really windy, don't get me wrong, but that was okay. There was nothing wrong with the wind. The sun was out, it was perfect. And then it rained, and it dropped down into the 50s, and the wind didn't stop. This means that everything that we did, we had to do with this, almost felt like a kind of a blizzardery condition. It wasn't blizzard, I mean, it wasn't snow, but you walk outside and the wind would just take your breath away. The cold rain hitting you and you're just shivering within a few minutes. You're out here, you're trying to collect water because we're stuck. We can't leave because of the mud, and you're freezing to death trying to get that set up. Your shoes are wet, your socks are wet, everything's wet. Your only long sleeve shirt, because remember, we just had a fire down in Florida, so we only bought one long sleeve shirt, and it's wet. Everything is wet. You're miserable. You go inside to warm up. You turn on the propane heater, start drawing condensation in. Remember, propane draws condensation on a wet day. And so now everything's wet and drippy on you, and it's just miserable. People tell me to open the windows. You can get the condensation out. Well, that's kind of a bad idea, considering we had 30 to 40 mile an hour winds blowing water into the windows. There was actually a manufactured seam on the window. Manufactured there. The wind was hitting so hard it was coming through the window. I had to seal it up with some silicone. There's just one condition after another that can really press your mental fortitude living out here. And if you're not prepared for it, and especially within that first 6 months, that first 6 months is already stressful enough. You're just trying to overcome the old lifestyle to the new lifestyle and trying to make all those adjustments. And it takes about 6 months to do that. And if you are really hit hard in that 6 months, I can imagine you're just going to give up. I mean, with the rain and the cold that we had to endure last year, on top of the 6 month, getting started period, it was really tough. You just really have to stay positive. You feel yourself kind of sinking into this, oh, it just doesn't end. It's just, And then, of course, I got Carolyn I can lean up against, and she's got me she can lean up against. And so we do support each other up a lot, which is a big help. But if you come out here by yourself, I couldn't imagine. Just one day after another. And, you tell yourself, well, we'll just leave and we'll go down south. Well, now we're spending more money that we didn't want to spend. And what was the point in coming out here if we're just going to run away every time it gets cold and wet? This is the first time we've actually got to park to something this beautiful. So it's just something that you got to endure, and you got to recognize you got to stay positive. So thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Click like if you like the video, and happy travels.